Astronauts spent 12 months in space. Here's what happened. The human body is an amazing thing. It can adapt to all sorts of different environments and change in order to survive. But there are still some things that it just wasn't meant to do. One of those things is spending an extended period of time in space. In 2015, astronaut Scott Kelly made history when he completed a year-long stay aboard the International Space Station. This marked the longest continuous space mission by an American astronaut and provided valuable insights into the health effects of extended spaceflight. During his time on the ISS, Kelly participated in a variety of scientific experiments and made regular appearances in live interviews and social media posts. He also kept a detailed diary of his experiences, which was later published as a book. In 2016, Kelly returned to Earth, and scientists studied him in order to better understand the long-term effects of spaceflight on the human body. In this video, we will discuss Scott Kelly and what we have learned from Kelly's year in space and what it could mean for the future of space exploration. So watch till the end to find out. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any further videos. Welcome to SpaceFacts. Scott Kelly is a former NASA astronaut who is best known for spending nearly a year on the International Space Station, which puts him on the list of Americans who have spent the most time in space. Between 1999 and 2015, Kelly performed 2 long-duration space flights and 2 shorter-duration space shuttle missions. Scott Kelly is Mark Kelly's twin brother, who is also a NASA astronaut. The primary scientific purpose of Scott Kelly's one-year mission was to learn more about how the human body adjusts to long durations in space. Most ISS missions last only 5 to 6 months, while extended missions of up to a year, and in one occasion more than 400 days, were carried out on the Mir space station in the 1990s. Modern medicine has made it easier to evaluate the physiological and genetic changes that occur. Kelly and his Russian colleague Mikhail Kornienko each spent 340 days aboard the ISS studying how their bodies changed. Kelly's physiological changes were compared to his twin brother, who remained on the ground. Scott Kelly was born on February 21, 1964, as the second of 2 brothers. The Kelly twins stated in a 2010 NASA interview that their parents did not inform them which was the oldest until the boys were in their teens. Scott said, "Our parents didn't want to say who was older because they believe that person may gain some influence or whatever." West Orange, New Jersey is where the brothers were born and raised. They both witnessed the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969 at the age of 5, though only Scott claims to remember it, but space was a fleeting interest in their youth. In their spare time, they went to museums and played sports in Manhattan. The brothers were co-captains of the swim team in high school and also participated in track, baseball, and football. Mark and Scott initially pursued different routes after high school. Mark joined the Navy after graduating from the United States Merchant Marine Academy with a bachelor's degree in marine engineering and nautical science in 1986. He earned a master's degree in aeronautical engineering from the United States Naval Postgraduate School in 1994. Scott obtained a bachelor's in electrical engineering from the State University of New York Maritime College in 1987, a Navy aviator's license in 1989, and a master's degree in aviation systems from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in 1996. Both twins applied for the NASA astronaut class of 1996. Most test pilots applied to the astronaut program at some time, Mark said in the same interview. Both were approved. Scott Kelly was the pilot for the STS-103, a shuttle mission that refurbished the Hubble Space Telescope only 3 years after commencing his astronaut training. In December 1999, his group spent 8 days in space. In between flights, Kelly served as head of operations in Star City, Russia, as a backup for ISS Expedition 5. STS-118 on the Space Shuttle Endeavour was his next mission in 2007. This was a building mission to the International Space Station that included the installation of a gyroscope, a truss, and a new spare parts platform. Kelly then changed launch vehicles to a Soyuz for his next space trip, his first long-duration space station expedition. He launched in October 2010 and spent 159 days aboard the International Space Station as captain of Expedition 26. Around this time, NASA and Roscosmos, Russia's space agency, We're talking about sending up an astronaut-cosmonaut pair to spend a year on the space station. Scientists lauded it as a technique to advance understanding of the human body and microgravity, especially since NASA hopes to launch a human expedition to Mars eventually. Kelly was just one of a few astronauts at NASA who qualified for the mission based on his experience, and the fact that his radiation exposure had not yet reached the NASA astronaut's lifetime limit. Kelly admitted that he was at first hesitant to spend a year away from home, but he quickly warmed up to the concept and was eager to leave. On March 27, 2015, Kelly and Kornienko, together with veteran cosmonaut Gennady Poldaka, launched into the ISS. Kelly's mission had a more tumultuous start than anyone had anticipated. Over the course of a few months, a number of cargo ships from various firms and countries failed to reach the ISS. One commenter noted in a PBS program that aired in March 2016 that the astronauts on board came close to rationing food until successful launches resumed. Kelly, on the other hand, stayed concentrated on finishing his job in space. He made 3 spacewalks and was in charge of a moldy plant experiment and saved the zinnia flowers contained within it. He was commander of Expeditions 45 and 46. He also attended news conferences and sent out regular tweets and social media updates to keep the public informed. After 340 days in space, the seasoned astronaut returned to Earth safely on March 2, 2016. Kelly indicated anticipation about returning to space in a news conference after the long travel from Kazakhstan to the United States, but as a part of a private mission as he felt it was time for younger NASA astronauts to have flight assignments. Kelly left NASA on April 1, 2016. The question that now arises is, did Kelly's physique change as a result of this mission? Although Kelly arrived in 2016, the twin study results continued for 3 years before the first summary publication was published in 2019, after interim releases in 2017 and 2018. The researchers discovered a similar level of alteration in gene expressions in both twins, which was surprising given Scott's time in space. The experts believe Mark's hectic life on Earth may have played an influence in the findings. Scott's genes changed in ways that were consistent with his long time in space, such as alterations in his immune response, which became more active, and bone activity. However, after 6 months on the spaceflight's conclusion, most of the alterations had returned to normal. Kelly stated that he felt completely better after around 8 months of being back at home. However, after 3 years on the ground, Scott's body had not recovered to normal, including DNA damage from radiation exposure and certain long-term fluid shifts that have changed his vision, the latter of which has happened to other astronauts too. Kelly has continued to be involved in spaceflight efforts even after leaving NASA. He published his autobiography, Endurance: A Year in Space, A Lifetime of Discovery, in the fall of 2017. The title of his book was inspired by Alfred Lansing's book, Endurance, which was about Ernest Shackleton's Antarctic expedition. Kelly remembered in the biography that he brought a copy of Lansing's book with him to space during his last voyage and left it behind in the space station's modest library when he returned to Earth. At some point, someone told me that this was a mission of endurance, not just in space, but when I was a youngster, Kelly remarked in an October 2017 interview with Collect Space. It was a case of putting your nose to the grindstone and simply plugging away. When I heard it, I thought it was a great title for the book, especially given my connection to Endurance and Shackleton. Sony Pictures announced in 2016 that it has acquired the film rights to Endurance, Beyond a Year in Space. A follow-up documentary on Kelly produced by PBS and Time investigated Kelly's return to Earth and following medical testing as well as the journey's 2 newer astronauts, Jessica Meir and Victor Glover. 2 individuals with identical genomes, same professions, said Jeff Kluger, Time science editor, in an exclusive clip from the documentary supplied to space.com. You send one man into space for a year, you track the other man living on Earth for the same year, remove the differences, and that's what space did. Kelly is a regular media commentator on spaceflight and is involved in a number of humanitarian activities. In late 2017 and early 2018, he helped promote a Houston-based nonprofit that assists those affected by Hurricane Harvey, as well as research by the Syrian American Medical Society, a medical assistance organization. Kelly also visited the Arctic in April 2018 with the International Space School Educational Trust, which collaborates with astronauts and other space advocates to promote STEM education for people of all ages. Kelly chronicled his time in space in a photo book entitled Infinite Wonder: An Astronaut's Photographs from a Year in Space. Now it is clear that spending a long period of time in space can have some negative effects on the human body. However, it is also clear that the human body is very adaptable and can recover from many of these effects over time. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that spending a long period of time in space is worth the risk? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.